The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Good evening and welcome to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Julian, Luke, and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live by telephone right now, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, 1-866-656-5477. Email us, realityradio101 at yahoo.com. And now, your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Kevin Newell and Julian Luke.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Canadian Cigar Scene. We're back, baby. We're back.
Back in black.
Hey, you got it. How you doing, Jew?
I'm doing great, actually. Couldn't be doing any better with the fantastic weather that we're having.
Oh, it's still cigar smoking weather, which is great.
It's big cigar weather.
It is. Hey, a quick welcome back to everybody. We missed a week last week. We were on hiatus. Again, apologies, but you know what? We're bigger and better now, I tell you.
And great music last week, anyway. I mean, this channel, the music's off the charts.
Oh, they're killing it. Yeah, it really is a treat to tune in. You can tune in anywhere in the world, which brings me to a report here that I have. Report. We got new listeners. Do we have a listener in Taiwan before? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
So I think that's the newest one. It's pretty good. I mean, we're every week. I got to admit, every week we're jumping up in listenership, which is fantastic. You know, and Canadian listenership is really creeping up there, which is fantastic. Thanks to everybody for listening.
Because that's what we're all about, bringing education to people in the Canadian cigar scene about what's happening in Canada. And that's kind of the theme of tonight's show, I think, a little bit too, isn't it? All about some education.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, over the course of the last, how long have we been doing this? I don't even know how long now. We've been doing this for years.
It's measured in eons.
We've been doing this for years. Over the years, Jew, we've accumulated quite a few questions. Some people think there's, they'll say, is this a stupid question? But there is no stupid questions.
Well, there's the occasional stupid question, but we just answer them with grace. And then complain vociferously once the person leaves the shop.
That's right. And then I look in the dictionary at vociferously.
It's not under the P's. It's going to take you a while.
Damn it. Hey, didn't we have a banger last week or what? Last Saturday was our Oktoberfest Cigar Festival. And
my liver's still not talking to me.
Oh, Jesus. What a banger it was. I tell you, we had the Maple Suns playing. Hacker Shore was flowing like water. German food, hospitality that way. The cigars were just billowing out.
I was just shocked at the people that showed up in like lederhosen and an authentic Munich dress.
Yeah, I know.
When the drummer in the band shows up in lederhosen, you know you've got something going that's really happening.
Yeah, Bernie's a beauty. Him and Troy just killed it last week. Just killed it. Everybody loved him. I don't even know how many gigs did they pick up from that.
A ton, because we were talking with Wanda from Shrimp Cocktail and trying to persuade her to start doing either like a ladies' night, maybe something like a happy hour and incorporate those guys, because I just think that the people of Canada need to hear these people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night.
That's right.
Carrie's in there going, what the... How you doing, Gary? Everything good, man?
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Before we get to these questions that we have written down that
Various listeners sent them in via email.
Yeah, let's go to our producer Gary. Gary, any questions?
I do. I am a pipe smoker, not a pope
Pope
smoker.
You got,
No.
You didn't say you're a pole smoker.
No, sorry about that.
I knew you were supposed to kneel in front of the Pope, but I didn't know why.
I don't get to talk on radio too often. So. But what's the best way to store pipe tobacco, and how long is it good for normally? If someone didn't smoke, let's say they bought an X amount, is it good for weeks and weeks or months, depending how it's stored? Well, how do you do that? What's the best way?
Well, typically, I mean, how we give it to people when they buy it bulk in a bag, we give it to them in a bag, in a Ziploc bag, and typically, a week, 2 weeks, if they're going to go through their pipe tobacco in that length of time, it's typically fine in the bag that way. Anything after that, I always say to people, if you have a mason jar or something like that seals up tightly, put it in the mason jar, or you can get we sell little humidifiers in the shop that little ceramic discs or what have you, and you can actually soak them in distilled water and just put it in the bag as well, and you can put a little Bovita little humipack that's calibrated to 70% humidity into the bag as well, and that'll keep it in there. You can take it in, put it in, take it out after a week sort of thing, because you don't want it to get too moist, but that'll last quite a long time. I mean, there's tobaccos that just last years and years.
Wow, that's interesting. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, not a problem. Not a problem.
Now, if you're a member of the Scots, they tend to be parsimonious. Now, that is under the peach. You can look that one up. Okay, you'll find that. And my apologies to all my Scots friends. You're very generous. But Scots have been known to use. I think Gary, you talked earlier about using a little piece of apple or something like that in with the pipe tobacco. And I've even heard people say from a cabbage, like the stem of a cabbage, not the leaves themselves, but the actual stem. Although for me, cabbage in any form is not my favorite vegetable, but
because of that huge goiter on the side of your neck.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I keep leaning sideways away from the mic, so I've got to have this baby lanced. So you can do that. And Gary, with pipe tobacco, the one thing about it, it's a lot more forgiving than cigars. We do have a question about cigars in a little bit that people have asked us, but I've heard people say that if they're pipe tobacco, if they feel it's a little bit too dry, they can actually just put the pipe tobacco in a bowl, moisten a paper towel so as just damp, not wringing wet. Put it over top of the bowl in an area where there's airflow happening, and just leave the tobacco there for a while, and it springs right back. It's pretty easy to recondition.
And
thanks for that.
And a lot of times, even the tins, when you buy a full tin of tobacco, I know a lot of our pipe guys, they just find, especially the flake, they find that it is too moist when they open it. I mean, it's been sealed for years and years, and they find that it's still too moist. So what they'll do is they'll open the tin, they'll take out a couple of sheets if they're going to smoke flake throughout the week or what have you. They'll lay it out on the counter for a few hours or even a couple of days just to let the humidity leach out of it a little bit till it's to the temperature, till it's to the feel that they like, so they can rub it out and smoke it. So
that's great advice, and thank you very much for the tobacco.
Most welcome.
No worries.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right, so let's get on to some of these questions that the folks have sent in.
Absolutely, Joe. Here, what do we got here? Jimmy in Wisconsin writes, I have a humidor and seem to be having a hard time keeping the humidity regulated. What in your opinion is the best system to use? Should I use humidor elixir or distilled water?
Good question, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's a very common question in the shop too.
And I think, a big part of it depends on the time of year when you're having a hard time keeping things regulated. Myself, I find that the height of the summer isn't super bad. Middle of the winter, it gets to be a bit of a challenge. It's when humidity's changing, which is in the spring and the fall in the northern hemisphere anyway, up here in Canada. That seems to be when it gets really difficult. Has that been your experience too?
Absolutely. I mean, wintertime is when, I do. When we sell humidor in the shop, I'm a large proponent of using propylene glycol, which is humidor solution or elixir, as people would call it. It's calibrated to 70% humidity. It's got an antifungal agent in it, so you never have to worry about spores or mold or anything like that growing in your humidifier or on your cigars as well. It regulates the humidity. It's pretty much bang on 70, and then you find that like you say with the changing in humidity, wintertime everybody's coming in basically. They're buying a Bovita pack, which is a humipack that's prepackaged that you can just throw into your you basically take it out of the cellophane, you throw it in your humidor. It can sit right on top of your cigars. Calibrations range between 75, 72, 69%. And there's a wide range of other humipacks that we can get into as well in a minute. But that's what people are doing in the wintertime just to boost up their humidity. I find a lot more people with glass top humidors have those issues as well, just because the humidor, the cigars are not completely surrounded by Spanish cedar. So you do have a bit of leakage of humidity with the glass top humidor.
Yeah, myself, I find too that depending on the season, I'll change. Like the Bovita pack I use.
Mm-hmm.
Quite often I'll go to a 75% humidity pack in the middle of the winter because it's so flippin' dry. I mean, when you look at your home's humidity, it might be up around 70% in the summer and everything feels, comfortable. You could practically leave the cigars on the kitchen counter and it would be just fine. But in the winter, I have one of those home weather stations, and the humidity inside my house, it shows like outside humidity and inside. And regularly it can be down around 23%, 24%. That's why your skin gets that winter itch and stuff like that. So it's okay to boost your humidity a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. It's kind of a funny thing when you think about it. You go on a holiday down to Dominican, down to Honduras or Cuba, and you buy the cigars in the humidor. You walk into the humidor and they say, "Close the door. You're letting the humidity in."
I know.
It's crazy.
Too much.
Yeah, and you buy that Cuban cigar that's bursting around the band of the cigar, and you can barely get it off because it's so humid, right? But man, does it taste good, eh?
Yeah, they taste phenomenal. Taste phenomenal. Before we leave this question, I think too that one important thing to keep in mind is that sometimes it works to move your humidor to a different place in the house if you're having a hard time maintaining humidity. I had a guy once came into the store and he said he was keeping his humidor on top of the fridge and he couldn't keep the humidity regulated. I said, "Why is it on top of the fridge?" He said, "I don't want the kids to get in it." Well, you got the compressor blowing hot air all up the wall, right behind the humidor, and it was just constantly drying everything out inside. It was heating up the humidor and blowing the humidity out through the seams. So he moved it, and that worked. So,
and that's another thing you have to watch as well. Putting it near a heat source or light itself. I mean, the heat itself can cause tobacco beetles to hatch because there is larvae in the tobacco, and sometimes when they even though they do freeze the cigars, sometimes that egg doesn't get killed, and too high a heat, and boom, you got a tobacco beetle outbreak, and things get really ugly then.
I heard that creature in Alien with Jamie Lee Curtis was actually a tobacco beetle at one point. That's what they actually look like.
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, sorry, yes.
It's
Jamie
okay.
Lee Curtis, I was thinking.
They're both, yeah.
Either or. I never look at the face. What can I say?
Take your pick, right? Absolutely. But I mean, those to move on to another question. I mean, there's another listener had emailed and asked about the different types of Bovita packs to sort of segue into this. Shouldn't they all be set at 70%? It says. Well, the reason that they do make different humidities is for different types of climates and seasons and ranges in humidity. I mean, in the wintertime, it is more preferable to throw a 75 in there just because it's so damn hard to keep that humidity in there. But they do have other humidities as well and other calibrations, don't they, Ju?
Yeah, actually, I went onto the website because I wanted to just have a look at this before the show because in store we have 69, 72, and 75. But I knew that Bovita also was available for a range of other applications. For example, 32%. You can get a 32% Bovita pack. Now, that's absolutely useless for tobacco, but apparently it's great for woodwind instruments if you are a clarinet player, say, or if you want to keep your coffee fresh. They have 49%. Recommended usage there is some types of food storage, but inside of guitars, because guitars, they tend to have the same issue that anything does. If they get over moist or they dry out, it can cause a problem in performance.
Did you have problems with that in your heyday there, Gary, with the humidity with the guitars?
Oh yeah, we have humidifiers in all my guitar cases now, actually, especially my acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as far as starting to get into premium tobacco, there is a Bovita pack that's 62%, which is quite dry, but I think if you were in a very humid area, that might be helpful. They also recommend that for herbal medicine, which I think we all know is a euphemism for
smoking the ganja, man.
Maybe, yes, that's right. We'll ask Monsieur Trudeau about whether or not they work and are effective.
But he's got great hair.
Just not now. And then recommended usage, 65% and up for premium tobacco, depending on your, what you like for your cigars. And you can get all the way up to 84%, I think, is the highest humidity level they offer. And you can use that for humidor seasoning.
Yeah, I think typically what you do is you would throw, depending on the size of the humidor, throw 2, 3, 4 in there, depending on the size. And I think it's about 2 weeks until it's completely seasoned inside the humidor, and then you're ready to go. You basically don't have to do anything. A lot of guys are just so goddamn impatient, though. They just want to wipe it down with the distilled and carry on and throw their cigars in.
Yeah, and we also find that guys tend to, not utilize enough of the Bovita packs. So they'll come in with a 100-count humidor, and they'll say, well, I'll put 1 pack in there. It's just not going to cut it. No. I mean, you might need 3, maybe 4 of them in there.
That's right.
But if you aren't opening your humidor every 5 minutes to look at the cigars, then those things are going to last for like up to a month.
Mm-hmm.
You'll know when they stop working because the packages, they become brittle and hard. They're no longer soft and pliable.
And another thing I just saw last week in the from our supplier, there's a new stainless steel single Bovita holder as well that we have that has magnetic on the inside that can stick to the inside of the humidor as well, which is nice for the smaller, maybe the 30-count humidors and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we got time for one more quick question before we hit commercial.
Let's do it. Sven in Finland said, I found some cigars in a desk drawer, but they are pretty dry. Can I bring them back to life?
Might be easier to bring Elvis back than those cigars, my friend.
I think I always give the question, like, how long have they been out, and where do you live, sort of thing. You live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and they've been on the kitchen counter for 4 years. Well, you know what? They're not
going to happen.
No, but I mean, typically a cigar, if it's, we're talking a month or 2 months, really, it has to be a really dry area for it to really dry out totally so you cannot bring it back. But you take your time, you start it with a smaller Bovita pack in a Ziploc bag with a lower grade humidity and bring it back slowly so you don't crack the wrapper leaf on the outside. If you crack the wrapper leaf by introducing too much humidity at once, then the wrapper leaf is going to crack. So start out slow. Start out at the with 49% even, and then work your way to like a 65, and take your time. It could take months to actually bring them back, and as long as they haven't been under humidified for like a year sort of thing, you will bring them back to almost pristine condition.
Yeah, and unless you've got either A, a quantity of cigars, or B, some really expensive cigars, you got to ask yourself, is it worth buying $20 worth of Bovita packs to buy one, bring one single $4 cigar back to life?
Yeah, I know.
Probably better just to go get yourself a new cigar.
That's right. But if somebody screwed up and left a box of Cohiba Bahique 56 out in the garage for 2 months, well, you're going to work your ass off to get those back. And there's our cue, I believe, Gary. We got to jump into a quick commercial break, but just to let everybody know, you're listening to Reality Canadian Cigar Scene on realityradio101.com.
Chris Lee West Indian Market has been serving the West Indian community for over 15 years. Visit their new location at 20 Harwood Avenue South, Unit 7 at Harwood and Kingston Road in Ajax. They have a wide variety of Oriental, East, and West Indian groceries, fresh fish, meat, and vegetables. Load up your cart with goodies from the island at very reasonable prices. They have weekly specials such as non-alcoholic wine at 2 bottles for $5. Visit Chris Lee West Indian Groceries at 20 Harwood Avenue South, Unit 7 at Harwood Avenue and Kingston Road in Ajax, or call them right now, 905-426-2111. That's 905-426-2111. When you visit Peacock Lumber, you will step back in time to a place where purchasing wood products was simple, efficient, and pleasant. In our office, you can view our large selection of moldings and receive advice from knowledgeable sales staff. Once you have decided on your order, you can pick up your materials in our drive-through yard or utilize our delivery service. For pickups, take your vehicle out to our traditional lumber yard, where someone is always there to assist you. If you are accustomed to purchasing wood products at a box store, you will be impressed by the variety, selection, and quality of products that we offer, and the ease in which you get your vehicle loaded and get you on your way. Peacock Lumber is conveniently located on 8 acres in central Oshawa. It was started in 1939 by Victor Peacock and remains family-owned and operated. If you need quality wood products for your renovation, please call us at 905-725-4744. That's 905-725-4744. Or, for a full list of products and prices, go to www.peacocklumber.ca. Come to Peacock Lumber first to get the price, selection, quality, and service that you expect. The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. Get on board, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free 1-866-905-7325. Send us an email, realityradio101@yahoo.com. And now, back to your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Kevin Newell and Julian Luke.
And we're back, baby. We're back. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Me and Ju just yucking it up, going through a bunch of questions. Kind of a laid-back start back from being away for a week. And you know what? It's amazing how many questions are sort of piled up on the emails. It's pretty cool.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
it is.
And we're going to get to some more of those in just a bit, but I think we've got a couple of events that we need to cover, some coming up at Victory Cigars, so listeners might want to get a pencil to jot these down.
Get your pencil. Here we go. Friday, September 25th, which is this Friday, right?
Yes, I believe it is.
It is. We have a Nicaraguan roller in the shop doing a rolling demonstration. He's from the Roberto Duran factory, I believe, in Nicaragua.
The fighter?
Not the fighter, the cigar maker, the master blender, Roberto Duran. Met him a few times, been in the shop before, actually.
Roberto's a champ.
Oh, he's a beaut, isn't he? Oh, that's the first time I used that today. And I said beaut.
Butin.
Yeah,
Butin.
that's right, Butin. Speaking of Butin, we have a big event coming up October 17th. It's a Saturday event, probably 11 o'clock till 5 o'clock. It's our first sort of non-cigar event. It's going to be kind of neat. It's going to be with Cigar. So we have Rich Gambino coming in, the crazy Italian himself from Buffalo.
Cigar Rich.
Oh, buddy, it's going to be off the charts. He's promised to bring a ton of swag for the guys, and when you can get Cigar swag, that's a good day, isn't it?
And it's nice to see somebody from New York actually representing at one of the events for once.
That's right. Oh, Gary, you just took a shot.
Oh, snap.
I heard that.
Wow, it's hard to believe that I can't even believe that I'm even going to say this, but November 20th is on its way. Jesus, that's going to be Victory Cigar's 6th anniversary party. And we pretty much do it up right. I'm not sure if anybody's ever been to one of these anniversary parties in the past, the last 5 anyway, but they've been pretty good shakers.
Yeah, they've been a good event, and usually our suppliers are very, very generous in helping us to be able to get lots of product in the hands of folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So look forward to these 3 events, and I'm sure there's a couple more coming down the chute as well. You never know what's going to happen. But
and that guy I saw at the anniversary last year, who it was the first time I'd seen him in a year, don't come.
Ouch. You know who you are. Jackwagon. Cigar Scene Happenings. What's up, Jew? What's going on?
Well, I think we ought to say thank you to Lou Jardulo and the folks from the Rake Club that invited us to their first annual golf tournament at Woodbine on September 9th. Fantastic event.
How good was that, eh? I mean, that's the first time we'd golfed that Royal Woodbine, and right by the airport. You wouldn't even think there's a golf course there. It's insane. It actually goes under Airport Road.
And the coyotes. They were everywhere.
We're not... The Coyotes, yes.
not the Cougars, the Coyotes.
That's
there
right.
were no Cougars.
No, it was fun though. It was a riot. We had a great time. Attaboy Lou. I think they raised a good ton of money too.
Yeah,
so
that was a beauty.
Yeah, it was really good.
All right, what else?
Shout out to Canadian Cigar Enthusiast, one of our Facebook groups that we're part of their conglomerate as well. So great bunch of guys. You interested in sort of cigar blogging, any sort of information regarding cigars? Check out the Facebook group, Canadian Cigar Enthusiasts. Good bunch of guys.
Beautiful.
Brian Ferguson and the boys.
I know that it's been a couple of weeks, but we had a really nice time at Michael Park's workshop. Now, Michael Parks, if you don't know him, is one of the world's greatest pipe makers, and he's in Bowmanville, Ontario. On September 12th, they had an event between the Toronto Pipe Club and Lakeshore Smokestacks, Durham Regions Club. Everybody was in attendance. Some of the best food that you'll have all year, and there were at least 3 master pipe makers there, including Michael, who were talking to guys about the art of making a pipe. Pretty interesting stuff to see and listen to.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, as you would kind of expect when the Toronto Pipe Club and the Lakeshore Smokestacks get together, there's going to be 2 warring factions that come together and just rumble. But you know what? They got along pretty well, didn't they?
They did get along well.
Yeah, no banging their pipes against each other or anything like that.
No baseball bats in evidence. No, it was quite good.
Yeah, it was tame and it was good.
And speaking of events from last week, it seems like a lot's been going on. Cretek put on a great event with Mombacho's master blender Claudio Segroy and his wife Laura at last week. Now Laura was at the October Cigar Fest event. We weren't fortunate enough to see her at the Cretek event, but she was in town. Claudio and Laura are just a wonderful couple. He's used to be with Davidoff. He was the head of Davidoff, Italy, and he was based in Switzerland and Henke Kellner's right-hand man. Mm-hmm. And now he's the master blender for Mombacho. Great to see him. And he mentioned to me to be sure to let all of our listeners know that Mombacho is celebrating its 10th anniversary in Granada next year. They have a new factory called Casa Favili. If you are interested in going to the anniversary party, you just got to get yourself there, and you're welcome to attend the party. And I'm sure if you go to Mombacho Cigars, you'll be able to find out more information about that.
We've attended one of those before, haven't we?
What a great time. What a great time. If Cam's going, I'm not.
How do you spell shit show?
Yeah, exactly. C-A-M.
Yeah.
Want to give a quick shout out to a store that we have not attended in person, but have hearing great things about. Any of you that are planning on visiting Niagara Falls, Ontario, should stop in at Cigar Experience at 4548 Queen Street, Niagara Falls. The owner, Evan, has opened a beautiful facility. It's well worth a visit to Niagara to see the falls and then to stop at Cigar Experience. You can find him on the World Wide Web at cigarsniagara.com.
You met him a couple times at events and stuff like that. Great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Very nice.
He's doing some really good things with cigars. And last thing, this is not necessarily Canadian cigar scene, but a lot of our listeners like to know these things. The Big Smoke Cigar Aficionados annual event is coming to Las Vegas November 13th to 15th, and tickets are on sale now at cigaraficionado.com.
Well done, fine sir. Well done. Let's go back to some questions.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we should.
Yeah, I had a question from Frank Gilmore. Frank Gilmore was...
No, Gallimore.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Frank. Sorry, Frank.
He's got his contacts in the wrong eyes
that's
again,
right.
Frank.
Yeah, bugger eye. He was asking about something different, like a question I hadn't basically rarely get. He was talking about doing a show on the comparisons between electronic cigars and real cigars. I mean, obviously both have their pluses and minuses, as he says. He wants to know if Victory or any other cigars cigar shops in Canada are selling these e-cigars. I mean, obviously...
but we can get them from Alec Bradley Canada. They actually have them.
We did at one point have them. There's basically it doesn't, the ones that we had didn't actually taste like a cigar, but I mean they sure pumped out a lot of vapor. There's no nicotine, obviously.
And that I would say is a major, a major issue, because a lot of guys get their nicotine fix through their cigars.
That's right. But it is... I mean, the pluses, I mean, you could smoke it in your house. Your old lady's not going to beat you over the head with her rolling pin for smoking that in the house. I mean, it does have a bit of a smell to it, or a bit of an odor, but it's a lot more pleasant than smoking a Siglo 6 in the rec room with the baby and the dog, and
Yeah, and when you sit through like Claudio's blending seminar and you hear about how the cigars hit, the tip of the tongue, the sides of the tongue, the back of the tongue, the roof of the palate, they cause saliva production, and it's all created by different leaves. It's really hard to mimic that, so you're not going to get the all-round experience. But is something that's just a gag, something to give it a go? Yeah, there's worse things you could try.
Yeah, or for that person who just wants to have, just wants to hold a cigar in their hand and just sort of puff away on something, and not really so interested in the cigar experience itself as opposed to the habitual sort of having something in your hand sort of thing. It sounds kind of crazy, but, you're not going to have this. It's not going to be a cigar experience, that's for sure.
But in February, it looks mighty attractive.
Unless you're in my garage. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know what? E-cigar versus real cigar, two complete polar opposites, I'd say, but both have their merits, I would say.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah. Thanks for sending that question in. We know it was a few weeks back, but we were just compiling these over the past several shows.
That's right.
Okay, we got time for one more.
All right.
Number 4.
Well, how about this one? I'm planning on traveling, and if I'm planning on traveling, will I have a problem with my lighter at the airport?
Answer, yes.
Yes. Will I have a problem with my cutter at the airport? Answer, yes. You know what? We've done a lot of travel. We've been fortunate over the last few years to do a bit of traveling here and there and everywhere. And there's no rhyme nor reason to these people at the borders.
No, they make up the rules as they go along.
That's right. We've walked through with torch lighters, soft flame lighters, cutters in our pockets, in our carry-on baggage, and we typically just do carry-on. And the times that we have packed lighters and cutters in our bags, they've opened them up and taken the bloody things out of there, too.
Yeah, and yet I've sometimes taken a lighter, taken it out of my pocket, put it in the tray right in front of them, run it through the X-ray, and they're fine with that.
That's right. So I always say to people, if you're going away and you plan on bringing a cutter and a lighter, bring the cheapest stuff that you have, the least expensive. Don't bring your favorite cutter and your $400 lighter. Do not do that, because you're going to get it pinched. It's just that. Yeah. It's just the luck of the Irish on getting it through, and it's just not worth it.
And kind of a sidebar to that too. I've learned the hard way that just because you're going to the Caribbean or Central America doesn't necessarily mean that the second you land, cigars are going to be available. I've had people that have wind up going through half their vacation, and then they finally get some cigars to smoke because they go off the resort and finally find a store. So when I travel, even if I'm going south, I take some cigars with me. That way I'm not stuck the first night at the resort saying, oh, great, I'd love to have a cigar and there's none available for sale.
Plan on taking enough to get yourself through the first 2 or 3 days, just to make sure everything's comfortable and, you're happy and everyone's happy,
All right. So next week, we're going to try and get something sorted out here that should have happened this past week.
Yeah. We're going to try and corral Michael Parks from Parks Pipes to come into the show, and we're going to have a dedicated pipe show, which is pretty cool.
Tell him to bring his lathe.
That's right. One other thing I forgot to mention to everybody, I'm looking forward to happening in the next, probably next 3 or 4 weeks, mid-October, Sal Lucetta. Don Salvatore plans on bringing in some new stuff. He's the importer on record for AJ Fernandez, and we have a couple of new cigars coming in. We have the New World Connecticut, which we had at the show, and it was off the charts.
Great cigar.
And a completely new blend called Enclave coming in as well, early to mid-October. So, and I think Claudio called that Enclave one of the best, is the best cigar that AJ has ever blended. That's what he said. So
wow, that's saying a lot, because he's come out with some beauties.
That's right. So we're looking forward to that. So, geez, Jew, I'm looking at the time. Can we gab on or what?
We can gab.
Jesus.
Gab on, just like the monkey.
Isn't that
just like the country?
Isn't that an African country too? That's right.
Oh, it's Gibbon. That's right.
Gibbon.
Isn't this around the point in the show where you have a sudden leg cramp and drop the F-bomb in the microphone?
I'm good. I'm hydrated. I'm all good. So, again, Gary, great to be back online here.
Thank you.
It's good to see
Great to have you back.
Oh, absolutely. Contact information, just to let everybody know, we are available. I mean, there's plenty of ways you can get in touch with us. Email us at radio@victorycigars.ca, and that's where we got a lot of these great questions. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to go through them all, and I apologize, but we will get through these questions at some point in time for our listeners.
Part B.
That's right. Twitter, always contact Horatio at Victory Cigars, or myself, Victory Garman. Facebook, we have our Facebook page. It's Victory Cigars, obviously, and we are strong and pushing it with the Instagram as well at Victory Cigars. You can always check out upcoming guests at www.cigarscene.ca, and I think that's pretty much about it for this week, isn't it?
I think we're good.
Jays are on right now. Let's hope they beat the crap out of the Yankees in the next 2 games, and we carry on into the ALCS and carry on and go to the big show. What do you think?
And the Leafs managed to blow out the Senators in 2 separate games with the junior squads.
Oh, the Leafs, baby.
The Leafs, it's coming.
Oh, I'm so stoked for hockey. I can't wait.
Hey,
had a great guy in last week in the show as well, at the shop, who popped in. Mike Richards from
TSN?
From TSN 1050 AM, or on the radio, AM radio there. He's the morning drive guy, and he's been through a hell of a lot over the course of the last year, and it's good to see him come back strong and healthy. And man, we just shot the shit for an hour, and it's just great to see the guy again.
Yeah, I just realized there's one other person that I saw this week that I forgot to mention, and that was to say thanks to Craig from the Durham Region SWAT team, who came to October Cigar Fest with his lederhosen and his accordion and played for us for the better part of 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
Craig, you're an absolute beauty, man. I hope you're listening. Stay safe, and we really appreciate it.
You got that right. And on that note, Jew, it is time to have a cigar. We'll see you again next week, folks.
You've been listening to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101.